Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday to all of you. We've been all over the map here on the days that we've been doing GC Live this summer. Jack, I'm so used to saying happy Wednesday, but Thursday. It is Thursday. One day closer to Friday, one day closer to the weekend. We hope you've all had a great week so far. It's so good to be back with you. We took a couple weeks off. Jack celebrated his birthday, so we'll get into all of that. But this is GC Live here on Gamecock Central. It's presented by our great friend Clint Hammond. And Jack, before we talk all about Clint and South Carolina football, let's see how you're doing. What's up, Jack?
Doing good, Kendall. It's been a few weeks since we've been on here, so it's good to hopefully we get back into a routine now with football season starting here soon, that we're going to be talking every week about the Gamecocks, about everything going on with South Carolina football. But I'm doing good. I just got back from vacation yesterday. The fam and I, we were out at Sullivan's Island out in Charleston. So that was fun. We were out there for the week, celebrating the 4th, celebrating my birthday, obviously. And it was a good time. It was a good time for sure. I am glad to be back. Not ready to get back to work quite yet, but we don't have much choice there. So we're rocking and rolling, and soon here it'll be football season. But Kendall, it's been a busy week for you. I know a lot's been going on in your world there. So
yes, a lot has been going on in my world. I work for the Charlotte Knights. They are the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. I'm their team reporter and host. And this week we have Munetaka Murakami in town. He was leading the American League in home runs before he got hurt at the end of May. And he's one of the biggest names across Major League Baseball from this season. He's had a great rookie year for the White Sox. So he's here on a Major League rehab assignment and has joined us this week in Charlotte. So it's been great. He's been awesome. His translator, Kenzo, is amazing. So cool to just have someone, obviously, of that talent level, of that status here in Charlotte. And we've had a lot of rehabbers come through, but I think this one is probably the biggest name that we've had come through in my time. So interviews with him, lots and lots of reporting and updates being given. Of course, when you have a rehabber in town with a minor league team, you got to talk about the post-game spread. So I was trying to figure out what that was, because these rehabbers will come down to the minors and they'll buy an entire dinner spread for the team. So Mooney did that for the group. He got a sushi and ramen restaurant here in Charlotte. So sushi, steak, chicken, rice, and I heard red velvet cake for dessert. So team loved it. He's been great. And yeah, that has been my week. All-Star break though, next week. So like a little tiny chance to exhale for me, at least.
Are you guys, you guys are off. I didn't know how that worked with because when's the minor league All-Star game? Is that also next week?
Yeah, so it's the Futures game, and it'll happen in Philly next week as well.
No. But like the normal, there's like a trip.
They have the Futures game now, so there's no like minor league All-Star game.
Really?
Yeah, they do the Futures game like at the same time. I think the day before. They do the All-Star game up in Philly or wherever it is. Last year in Atlanta, next year in Chicago. So, yeah, we don't have a Knights player that is going to play in that game, but it's okay because we have some White Sox representation. Anyways, and next week here, like we get to exhale a little bit, but we have a draft camp here at Truist Field, which is very exciting. So
draft camp.
We'll have some of the guys coming through. It's just like, Major League Baseball draft coming up, and the guys that are get drafted like kind of come through almost like a preseason camp type of situation. So,
the guys that get drafted to the White Sox are going to
be cool. So that'll be next week. So I'm excited though, like for a couple days of no games, but I love baseball season, so I'm having a good time. It's been great. It's obviously awesome to be able to have someone like Murakami here, and we've seen a lot of those prospects, and he wasn't even a prospect. I mean, he came straight over from Japan here, but we've seen a lot of those prospects that are contributing now to the White Sox come through Charlotte. So a lot of those bigger names we're seeing have been here. So I always consider it a huge honor to be able to talk to any of those guys. And he was very nice with his time and just super kind and a great person. So it's been a busy week here, but I'm excited to talk a little football because it's been all baseball for me as of late, Jack. But before we get into it, let's give a big shout out to Clint Hammond, our presenting sponsor of GC Live.
Yeah, if you are in the market to buy a home or need help with your mortgage, any of those housing needs that maybe cause a little bit of confusion for you, maybe you're a first-time home buyer and you just don't know the proper steps to take, have a little bit of confusion, Clint will clear that up for you. You give him a call at 803-422-6797. His NMLS number is 71597, or go to clinthammond.com for more information. And yeah, if you're interested, get in contact with him. He is a long time. He's been in the mortgage industry for over 20 years now. He's a lifelong Gamecock fan as well, and a longtime supporter of Gamecock Central and all of our GCLI programming. So you're in the right hands with a guy like him that understands what it's like being a Gamecock fan, supports Gamecock Central all the time, and he's the best. So get in contact with him. All his contact information is above us here on screen. Thank you, as always, to Clint.
Yes. All right, Jack, the $1 million question.
I'm old. I'm 26.
I was going to have everybody guess.
I know. Well, I mean, Adam's the only one that's been commenting, so thank you, Adam. But
thank you, Adam.
Yeah, no, I'm, and I can tell you, I definitely feel older. Like, so long story short, so we were out in Sullivan's Island, and the house we were staying at, I guess, was like an Airbnb type deal. This house was insane, Kendall. Like, there was, I guess, the way I explained it on radio this morning was that it's like a that like cannot be altered really. So there's a big ballroom type area at the back of the house, next to the garage. And I guess it's from like military type stuff that they would use back in the day. So it can't be altered. So instead, what was done was it serves as a pickleball court in there. So they have the net up there and everything. And that was my first time playing pickleball this week. So, getting active every day doing that. And then walking to the beach, my feet were killing me. I mean, I could feel like, I'm like, is this what it's like to get older?
No. Everyone, look at this. Look at Jack telling you that he feels old.
I definitely do feel a difference. Like, I'm in the back half of the 20s now. Like, it's crazy. Okay. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel horrible because I turned 26 in 5 weeks.
Oh, you'll be all good. You'll be all good. We're both pretty active, I would say. Like I was just at the gym before coming here. I feel fine. It was just being on the beach all the time. Like, we were playing football on the beach a couple of days ago with my cousins, and then some random guys we met on the beach, and then just playing after that. I'm just like, oh my God, like I feel so tired. My feet are killing me. Like, I'm ready to just go lay down, drink a beer, and that be it. So. But yeah, this is not good to hear. Though.
I'm not planning on slowing down anytime soon, everyone.
But once you hit your 30s.
No, I heard people say the 30s are the best.
But the 30s sound great. I feel like once you get to 40, I feel like that's kind of when maybe.
Oh my gosh, no. Life is a gift all the time. All the time, it's a gift.
You're right. You're right about that.
Everything is a blessing, and you know what? It's good. It's exciting that you just had your birthday. So happy birthday to Jack. I will not sing happy birthday. But my birthday's coming up in August, and August is going to be a busy month, not really because it's my birthday, but because South Carolina will officially start preseason workouts, preseason camp. And Jack, you have a little info on when it's supposed to start that actually just came out.
Yeah, so I was just trying to figure out when the date is, because again, we have not seen like there will be an official practice schedule that comes out sent to the media here in a few weeks, but right now, I mean, I don't know if it's even been reported out there, but a couple of days ago, Dylan Stewart was named the Walter Camp preseason All-American. So I was looking on there, and at the bottom of the story, this is from Gamecocks Online. So this is coming straight from the university. It says at the bottom, the Gamecocks report to camp on Thursday, August 6th, with the first practice scheduled for Friday, August 7th. But then the next sentence, it says South Carolina opens the 2025 season. Again, it's 2026. But it does say it's against Kent State. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that was like a typo or something. But anyway, I mean, I'm looking at the calendar. I mean, the dates do line up. Like, like that is not a typo. It will be, the August 6th is on a Thursday, which is literally a month from now. It'll be 4 weeks from today is August 6th when the team reports. And then August 7th should be the first day of fall camp. And it makes sense because the season starts a little bit later this year. Like, I think last season, first game was like August 31st. So, I mean, first game September 5th this year. So, a little bit later. But, yeah, so we'll see what the official schedule looks like. But as of right now, a month from today, the Gamecocks will be back in full swing. And we do have a question here from Coleman who asks, has summer session ended? Are they practicing? I've been so out of the loop. Understandable. So, to my knowledge, they should be back in action now. Obviously they would have had a little bit of time off with the 4th of July holiday over the weekend, but yeah, they'll be working out, continuing all that. And then once end of July gets here, there'll be the SEC media days in like 11 days, I think it is from today. I think it's like July 21st. I'll answer this in a second. And then after that, they'll have their team media day, and then they'll be full swing after that. So we'll see. I know the golf tournament's coming up at the end of the month, so that'll be going on.
Are you golfing?
So that's funny you ask. I did just play out in Sullivan's Island in Kendall. It's been so busy. Like again, trying to.
What did you shoot?
I don't even know Kendall.
So
I wasn't shooting too good. Like my first hole was good. Like I got one over par, but then I'm like, okay, like I got within a chance. If I putted better, I would have gotten par on my first hole. But then after that, it just went all downhill. And then I think the back nine, my brother, dad, and I, we just decided to play best ball. So we shot, I think, 3 over by the end of 9 holes. So that wasn't too good. But point is, I was not playing well. And given that I'm currently moving out of my apartment right now and moving in with Caroline here next week, I got things going on here. Life's busy, planning a wedding and all that. Like, I don't know if I'm going to really be playing. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I don't know if I would
play, Jack. It's captain's choice. It's
not. But Kendall. I like playing golf, but I have not played enough to where I feel good. I suck right now. Is kind of what I'm getting at. Like I
guarantee you, there's a lot of
I know
golfing that are not good.
I know.
And I'll say that as someone that has golfed their whole life and isn't that good. It's hard to be really good at golf.
It is
a lot of practice.
So TBD right now. I'm leaning towards no, but if I get out on the course a few more times, even if it's just the driving range, if I get out at least a few more times between now and I think the registration needs to be in by like the end of the month. So we'll see. I'm planning on it, but who knows? I will be going to SEC media days, so I will be out in Tampa.
That is, I'm so jealous.
It'll be cool. So I'll be
out.
It
was in Atlanta for us.
Yeah, it was in Atlanta. It was in Atlanta last year too. So that was fun. But this will be a little bit of a longer drive. But hey, going to the beach will be cool. The hotel's right on the water, so it'll be fun.
W Marriott. It's the 20th through the 23rd. Have they sent out that schedule yet?
I know Carolina goes on that Tuesday, but I don't know. Like,
oh, wait, I have it right here. Okay,
Beamer's going to be there, but as far as like players go, I got no idea. I think one can imagine Lenoris will be there, but
so South Carolina is slated for Tuesday, like you said, the 21st. Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt are on Tuesday. Monday, it's Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Wednesday, July 22nd, Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. And then Thursday, the 23rd of July, Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas. So South Carolina is in there with Auburn, Georgia, and Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question here from Adam. Where in the SEC do you think South Carolina will be predicted at SEC Media Days? I'm going to look this up because I think last year, I want to say they were picked to finish 5th, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were picked to finish 5th.
I want them to get picked to finish lower at the beginning of the season.
Kendall, they will finish 5th, if you can believe. I mean, that's just insane to go from because I mean, again, they were coming off the 9-win year.
Yeah,
Morris is back. The hype's real. They got a lot of talented players, and then they just like plummeted. I think this year, like at the start of the year, I think they're going to be picked. Like, okay, here's for reference: 2025, 10 through 16, it was Oklahoma, Auburn, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State. I think we can safely assume that 14 through 16 will be some combination of Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State. I would imagine maybe like Auburn, maybe Tennessee will be 13, 12, something along those lines. I do think South Carolina will probably be at best, I think 10. At lowest, I could see a world in which they're picked 13th in the SEC. I don't think they're going to get the benefit of the doubt from the media. Even with Lenore's coming back, even with all the additions they made, it's tough to say, right? Because there's so many other teams in this conference that are really good and probably better than South Carolina on paper right now. Do I think they'll be better this year, though, than what their prediction would be? Yeah, absolutely. I think the ceiling, I think they could be good enough to enter into the top 10 in the SEC, but time will tell.
Well, we've had this conversation numerous times on the show, and I'm sure we will have it one more time before the season starts, talking about the schedule and what does success look like for South Carolina this season. But obviously that groundwork has to be laid, and it's getting laid right now, but it's been being laid throughout the entire offseason. South Carolina staff has been hard at work. We know the guys are training right now as well, and we're going to see some differences with the South Carolina team, not only in the fresh faces that we'll see out there, but it's a whole new offense for South Carolina. It's going to look different. And Kendall Briles is leading that as the offensive coordinator for South Carolina this year. I'm really interested to hear at media days how things, will progress as we continue to get closer and closer to kickoff in South Carolina's first game of the season, Jack. So for me, I know that will be a main talking point at media days, but what else do you think are the biggest kind of looming questions as we get closer to preseason camp?
Well, it's definitely that with how this offense is going to look under Briles. Again, when SEC media days is rolling, they won't even be starting camp for another 2 weeks. So we really have not gotten to see this group in action yet. I mean, aside from like spring practice, I mean, fall camp will be the real time where they're working to install more of what they're going to do this season. Obviously, they did that a good bit, I'm sure, during the spring because there was no preseason or no spring practice scrimmage to worry about. So you didn't have to put together a vanilla playbook for that. Whereas in the spring practice, you could probably just run whatever you really want, get an earlier install into what the offense is going to look like. That's probably the biggest question is what this offense will look like. Of course, I'm sure Shane Beamer, first question is probably going to be, okay, what's the latest update on Dylan Stewart and Jacarius Peak?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I think depending on it just really depends on who they bring, I think, too, because that's kind of how you can center your questions. Like last year, I think it was Lenoris, Nick Barrett, and DQ Smith. And I think you could ask, questions about the defensive line and the secondary and all that. We'll see who they bring this year. I think the offensive line's another big discussion this year of, okay, the offensive line's been terrible the last few years, right? Lonnie Teasley's no longer the O-line coach. Randy Clements is in there. He's got Jason Smith. Like, they have basically revamped this offensive line as best they can. What will it lead to? Can Lenore's get more protection? How's that going to look? It's tough to forecast right now until the season gets going, but that's definitely going to probably be another hot topic for sure. Other position battles, like Adam brings it up here. Who's going to be kicking for South Carolina this year? I'm sure that's something that will come down to the wire. We'll see where it's at once preseason camp gets going. Again, they'll have scrimmages during the month of August to kind of figure out, okay, who's separating themselves. And, in years past, though, the kicking competition has come really down to the last few days before the season gets going. So I wouldn't rule it out that that's going to happen again. But, again, they made a few outside additions with the portal to bring in some guys to help out with that competition. So we'll see what it looks like. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be your typical stuff at media day. I mean, a lot of questions about Lenoris last year. I think that's the other thing. How do you overcome what happened last year? Because it was a big step back in a lot of ways. I'm sure, and I know there already has been, other, outlets reporting about it and whatnot. There's probably a lot of pressure on Shane Beamer this year. So I would imagine, that when he gets up at that podium with all the national folks out there, like there's probably going to be a lot of questions about the pressure going into the season. If Shane does feel any of that after a 4-8 season, knowing that this is a huge year for South Carolina football.
Yeah, and there's no doubt with the national media, outside of the Lenoris story, the Shane story is right there with it. That is exactly what they will be latching on to throughout media days, because clearly they like to talk about coaches that are on the hot seat. And that has, been the storyline for South Carolina of this entire offseason. The offense is interesting. I am curious to see how those questions are answered. Clearly, South Carolina is not going to give away really anything. And even when we get into preseason camp, we've discussed this before. The media is allowed out at certain practices, but it's not like you're really seeing anything. We won't know probably too much about this offense, to be quite honest with all of you, until we see it in full force doing its thing in a game situation. That's just how it is. And clearly that's what South Carolina should do, because why would they give away any type of secret or let their opponents know what they're going to try to do? It would make sense. But at the end of the day, a lot of these questions are going to get asked. And it's interesting to see the way that the coaches and the players, and this goes for South Carolina and every other school in the country, the way that they try to answer the questions as best they can while not giving away too much and maybe trying to dodge a few things here and there, Jack. That's typically the case at media days. But, I also appreciate it as well, because you have this side of things where you are talking about the football and you're talking about the expectations. Then, hopefully, and I don't know with South Carolina how much of this we'll get this year, because in the first few years of the Beamer era, it was like the sunglasses and the turn my swag on video before media day and kind of that side of things. I'm curious to see this year how things maybe shift from that perspective of like, is this going to be a much more serious, kind of hard-hitting situation for South Carolina media day this year? Or will you have that side of things that is a little bit more fun and like personality driven? I don't know. It should be interesting, because this is, as you mentioned, a very, very critical year for South Carolina. And it's not fun and games where they're coming off of a good season and everybody's feeling great. It's lock-in time. And so I am curious to see how much it will be kind of that like fun, lighthearted side of the media day this year. I don't anticipate that too much, even though we've seen a little more of that over the past couple years for the Gamecocks.
It'll be different, I think. I think it'll still be light because it's SEC media days. I think it's kind of supposed to be that way. But make no mistake, this year is definitely different than other years, because I think this is going to be the most pressure-filled season that we've seen under Beamer since he took over as head coach in 2021. No doubt about it. I think this year, the only year I think that you could kind of compare this one to is the weight going into 24 after the 5-7 season. Because, if South Carolina had another bad year in 24, well, then we may not be talking about Shane Beamer still being the coach here at South Carolina 2.5, 3 years later at this point. But they had the good season, had their best season under him, and then took a step back, obviously, this past year. But you know what? This offseason, they went ahead, corrected some things, fired coaches, brought in new guys, basically revamped the staff, to some degree completely, brought in new players, brought back returning guys. I mean, there's a lot of differences. I mean, they've even changed up the way they were doing the practice schedule with some of the things they were doing during the spring. What will that look like heading into the fall here? Will they continue to change things up? I wouldn't say no. I feel like if they did it in the spring, they probably will continue to do it here into the fall. But it's definitely going to be the most pressure-filled season, especially if Carolina doesn't get off to a great start. I think that's kind of where it gets interesting. Like they're gonna win their first 2 games, but it's after that of like, okay, what's their record going to be by the bye week? Like when you have to play Tennessee the following, when you play Tennessee the week after the bye week, because it's Florida bye week, then Tennessee. What's their record going to be? I mean, they're playing they'll go 2-0 first 2 weeks. That's Mississippi State, Bama, Kentucky, and then Florida. Like, is your record going to be on track to be like 5-1 or 4-2, or and God forbid it's like 3-3? Then you start getting into conversations of like, okay, where's this season going? But if we learned anything about Shane, it's that, look, he's built a pretty good staff here. He's got a good roster. All these guys are a year older now. He's brought in some really talented players. And it typically seems to be this thing of, like, every other year, South Carolina seems to have a pretty good season. Like, the first 2 years were really good. Then 23 wasn't great. 24 was good, best year they've had. 25 was the worst year I think that he's had. What does that mean for 26? Is it another bad year or is it a good year? Well, history will tell us it's probably pointing towards a better season, and it has to be, I think, for where this program is going moving forward.
It has to be a better season for South Carolina, and I'm not even talking a 6-win season. I've said it before. I think South Carolina needs to win at least 7 games for Shane Beamer's job to be secure. Now, if they go 6-6, I could see a world in which his job remains with South Carolina. I could see that. I'm not saying like definitely if South Carolina only wins 6 games, it's going to be done for him, but I do think it would be in the realm of possibility. I think for his job to be safe, I would predict 7 wins. Now, of course, I am not the athletic director at South Carolina, but I have stood 10 toes down on that statement, and I will continue to stand on it. I think South Carolina needs to win 7 games. We've talked about their ceiling potentially being like 9, maybe if it's a crazy season for South Carolina, 10 wins. It's just hard to say. I mean, we've seen the addition South Carolina has made through the transfer portal. We've known that these guys who are coming back to South Carolina have talent. We've known that for years. And again, as you just mentioned, Jack, they're a year older, but it's like, how does everything mesh? And I think part of the issue last year that a lot of people were feeling is that Lenora Sellers was not given the best playbook to be successful as a quarterback. There were a lot of other factors in it. You can talk about the offensive line. You can talk about many other things that could have contributed to why South Carolina's offense took a step back, to why people feel like Lenora Sellers took a step back. But a lot of people did talk about, and I think it's a very valid thing to mention, just the playbook not being great for the type of quarterback that Lenoris is. And I think that plays into it as well. So like Kendall Briles has had success in the past, and we know that South Carolina is very high on him, obviously, because Shane Beamer wouldn't have hired him otherwise. But is he going to be able to come in and make someone like Lenoris shine? How is everybody going to work together in that is the biggest question. So I'm really curious for that, and I think South Carolina has to start strong. If they don't start strong, there's no digging yourself out of that hole, because the rest of the season doesn't get easier for South Carolina. South Carolina's start to the season is going to be the easiest part of their schedule. And so if you're looking at the first, 5-6 games, I know there's a couple tough ones in there, but you've got to start strong if you're South Carolina. If you don't, all the hope is lost. You're not feeling great heading into the back half of the season. It really is all about setting the tone. I know we say that, it sounds cliche, but the tone has to be set right off the jump. This year, no excuses can be made. You cannot make the excuse that it's Kendall Briles' first year as the offensive coordinator. The offense is still getting implemented. You've had all offseason. I'm not saying South Carolina is going to do that. I'm not saying they're making excuses, but you can't say that. You can't say, oh, well, we have a really young team. No, you have leaders on this team. You have guys that have been in this position before. You can't say, oh, well, it's hard to compete with the SEC when it comes to NIL and getting guys in the transfer portal. You had a highly ranked transfer portal. You got a lot of guys that were able to come in. So now how are you able to get everybody to work together to ultimately make this a successful season for South Carolina? That is the number one question. And we can talk about preseason all we want, but at the end of the day, we won't find out until the team gets on the field for their first game of the season. And from there, we'll have to see.
Yeah, the schedule is, let's look at it that way. So the schedule at the start, they get split down right in the middle to where 6 games before the bye week, 6 games afterwards. I'll read it off real quick. So Kent State, Towson, Mississippi State, at Bama, Kentucky, at Florida. Those are your first 6 games. I think all of them are very winnable. Like, I think there is a chance they could go 6-0 in those first 6 games.
The Alabama game stressed me out a little bit.
No, it definitely does, especially since that's going to be a night game. And I think at Florida too, you cannot discount that game. But we don't know what Florida and Kentucky are really going to be in with first-year head coaches. That's a little tougher to predict. I think there's at best, I think they can go like 5-1. At worst, I could see them potentially going. I mean, shoot, they could go 2-4. I mean, Mississippi State, I think they should be able to beat them. But is it a full-on guarantee? No. Same with Kentucky.
At best, they could go 6-0. At worst, they could go 0-6.
They're not going 0-6. They'll win those first 2 games. It's just
they will. But
what are they going to do afterwards? And then you have the back half of the schedule, Kendall, and you kind of alluded to it, and I'll read it off here. I mean, it is going to be very tricky. There's a good chance that 5 of those last 6 games you play are all against ranked opponents and like highly ranked opponents. At home versus Tennessee, at Oklahoma, home versus Texas A&M, at Arkansas, home versus Georgia. Then you go on the road to Clemson. Like Clemson, we don't know what they're going to be this year. They could be bad. They lost a lot of talent, but it's at Clemson. And I don't even know what time that game's going to be at. And it's a rivalry game. You never know with that one. I mean, Georgia, A&M, and Oklahoma were all college football playoff teams last year. So they're all going to be pretty good. 2 of those games are at home, but like A&M is really good. Georgia's good. Oklahoma on the road, that's tough. Tennessee, I feel like Tennessee is a little bit of a wild card. And then you have Arkansas. If Arkansas was at home, I think you feel really good about it, but it's at their place in Fayetteville in November. I don't know. So I think it's paramount to get off to a good start. Like, I'm not talking go 3-0. Like, I think you probably, by the time the bye week gets here, you'd really like to be 5-1. Like, you go into the bye week 5-1, picking up a win at Florida with your only loss to like Alabama. I think you take that 9 times out of 10. Would you like to be 6-0? Sure. Is it realistic? I don't know. But going 5-1, you would feel really good because you're still alive for the playoff at that point. And I think you take a little bit of the pressure off of the hot seat. A bad finish to the year in the final 6 games, like, yeah, you could easily lose all those 6 games right there and go 5-7, and then we're having a completely different discussion. But I think it would take a little bit of the temperature off of Beamer, and I think the players, too, getting off to a good start to the year. Because as much pressure as there is on Beamer to get the job done this year, I think there's a lot of pressure on the guys that are returning after how bad last year went.
Yeah. No, definitely. And we can talk, again, back to the excuse thing. Like, the schedule is hard. I think we've said that on repeat, like broken records for the last however long since we've been with Gamecock Central. Schedule's hard. It's going to be hard every single year. So yeah, the pressure is there because every year your expectations are high because this fan base wants good things out of this program and they deserve good things out of this program. Not only are the expectations high, but you are playing tough teams. And I think last year we kind of would say, okay, well, it's a hard schedule. That separates elite teams, though. Elite teams find ways to get it done. South Carolina is going to need to find a way to get it done at one point or another on the road this season in a hostile SEC environment. And they're going to have to probably win a couple games that come down to the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Like, that's what separates the playoff teams. That's what separates the elite teams, especially the teams coming out of the SEC, because every single week is a fight, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter if you're playing Kentucky, Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama. I don't care. Every single week is going to be a fight. So I think this year, that's the other thing. Like, we would continue to lean back on, okay, tough schedule. Yep, we know that's true. We've known that's true for years, but that's what elite teams do. They win tough scheduled games, and they maybe do it in difficult conditions. So I'm curious to see how South Carolina will do that. I think having leaders back like Lenora Sellers, like Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor, these guys that have been there, that have been in the environment that a lot of these guys are going to be experiencing, maybe some of them for the first time this year, or maybe just the second time, or whatever it is. Like, having these leaders that have been through it, that have done that, I think that's super important. And I know that they are going to be relied upon a lot because it's never easy in the SEC, but we can't keep saying that because, you don't hear Georgia saying that every single year. I know, but South Carolina, it's a no excuse year for South Carolina, in my opinion. There's no room for that. But Jack, as we continue here on the show, we've got another sponsor that makes it possible for us to have GC Live. So what do we got?
Yeah, so let me tell you guys about Rytech Electric real quick, which is a locally owned company. They're based in Lexington and have been serving the Columbia and Midlands area since 2007. It's almost 20 years now at this point. So with Rytech, whether it is a last-minute repair before move-in or a full wiring package on your latest build, Rytech Electric partners with the Carolinas' top production home builders and keeps everyday homeowners powered as well. It could be a flickering light or a dead outlet that can derail your morning routine. Their same-day service and 1-year warranty mean you'll never have to hunt for extension cords ever again. From turnkey new construction wiring to fast, friendly service calls, Rytech has you covered every step of the way. Every electrician is a Rytech employee, not a subcontractor. They tell you the price before any work starts, so that way there are no surprises in there. which is really good to hear. And they do electrical work, repairs, outlets, breakers, panel work, ceiling fans, lighting, anything you need, they've got you as far as electrical repairs go. So give them a call at 1-803-303-8274. Again, 1-803-303-8274. A real person will pick up. And when you do call them, tell them that Gamecock Central sent you on over. So thank you to Rytech Electric.
I love that. Yeah, all of that stuff just goes right over my head. So I need all the help I can get. If I have any type of problem, thank you, because Rytech would be great to help out. So keep them in mind if you need anything along those lines. All right, Jack, before we get out of here, we'll answer a couple last questions. Shane Beamer is speaking on Tuesday, July 21st. South Carolina, Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, all on that day. Jack will be there, so you guys can stay up to date over on GamecockCentral.com. And then, Jack, one more time, because we are talking a little preseason camp here today. When does it start according to Gamecocks online? Again, dates, times, they're subject to change, but this is what we have as of right now.
Yeah, as far as what's on their site, it literally says team reports Thursday, August 6th, and then camp gets rolling the next day, Friday, August 7th, which makes sense for a little bit of a later start with the fact that the season doesn't begin until September 5th. So when the season starts a little bit like a week later than normal for week one this year. So it's a little different, but, just, it'll be good. And then Media Day will be here, and I'll be rolling up there on July 20th in Tampa. And I was looking up today, actually. It's about a 7.5 hour to 8 hour drive out there to Tampa. So it's going to be a good time out there. Looking forward to it. We'll see who Beamer brings with him. We'll be on here talking all about that stuff as we get closer. But, yeah, I mean, SEC Media Days is like from tomorrow, 10 days away. And then after that, fall camp will be here in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, football season's almost finally here.
I feel like it's been a minute, though. Like, it seems like it's been a while since South Carolina has last played. And that's just how it feels when you're coming off a season that was disappointing.
Yeah.
You just kind of have that lingering feeling. It feels like it's been a long time. So I'm ready to turn the page, ready for a new year. No excuse 2026 for South Carolina.
Yes.
That's what I'm officially calling it from here on out. But I believe in them. They can do it. Shane, the crew, staff, team. They can do it. We know they have talent. We know they have talent. So anyways, everything football related, everything South Carolina athletics related, it's over on GamecockCentral.com. So check it out, everyone. I got to go. I got a game to get to. More sports, more baseball, more fun. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on GC Live on Gamecock Central. For Jack Veltri, I'm Kendall Smith. Again, this has been GC Live, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.